Okay, again, what you're looking for, you guys, when it comes to drip campaigns and also contacts and leads where you can maintain your database, as well as the website and what's also called a deal manager, all of that is going to be found within booj. And so when you click on booj, like is the case with most of the apps within Mac Center, it's going to open a new window. And again, I'm using Charlie's account because I don't have one of my own. And what we're looking for our purposes today is campaigns, which is right here in the top menu. I'm going to minimize you guys. In the top menu, this is where the majority of the options are going to be found within the booj platform, is right up here next to the booj logo. Little caveat, especially for those who might be watching this later, who might be team leaders, you guys need to make sure that you are working within the right account. If you are an individual agent, this does not apply to you because you would just have one role within the booj platform. But if you are a team leader, you want to make sure that it says agent and then your name. You can click on that if it doesn't say that, and you can see the different roles that you would have assigned, one of which would be a team leader if that was a role that you also had. For individuals, again, what you're looking for is agent and your name. You'll click on change role, and then it's going to switch dashboards to show you the options and the menus that are just for that particular role within the booj platform. Okay, so what we're looking for is campaigns. When you click on campaigns, you're going to see another dashboard that shows any of the campaigns that are currently in progress, as well as the menu on the left-hand side of the screen. This is consistent within all of the different options and all the different places within booj. Whether you're looking at contacts and leads, deals, website, reports, you guys may not have reports, but any of these other options, you're going to have menu options on the left-hand side, which when you click on them, there's all sorts of other little goodies that you can play around with over here. Where we're going to start may seem a little backwards, but you will thank me later. We're going to start with recipient lists. In order to send out a campaign, you have to be able to know who you are sending the campaigns to. So booj calls them recipient lists, and there are a few different distinctions in the form of the lists that you guys can utilize. One of which is called a basic recipient list, and the other one is called a smart recipient list. So also, just as a little refresher for those of you who have done booj training with me before, anything that you guys see in the booj platform that is blue automatically should make you think of something new. So blue equals new in booj, blue bringing you to new options, new choices that you can then choose from. So with that in mind, when we click on the big blue button that says create recipient list, that's where we're going to see some options to go ahead and create the list of the recipients that we want to send these email campaigns to. So you can call it whatever you like, whether you have a buyer list, maybe you have a seller list, maybe you have it drilled down a little bit further and it's far more detailed, things like first-time home buyer lists or investors or buyers in Lumberton, whatever that looks like, you get to choose. That's the best part. So for us today, I'm just going to put a sample recipient list. And then right here at the bottom, you're going to see the two options that you can choose from, whether it's a basic recipient list or a smart recipient list. What's the difference? If you hover over these little question marks, it's going to tell you exactly what the two are. Basic lists, these are things that you can add individual contacts and leads to that you choose, and it's not going to automatically update that list. It's more of a manual process. So you're picking and choosing who makes up a particular list. Things like an individual that attends an open house. So you have a list of just those people who attended it. Or maybe it's new leads that you met at a chamber event that you wanted to create a list for that says chamber, Chamber of Commerce networking, and it's 4 or 5. It could be a specific group of acquaintances, maybe a previous employer, and it's those people that you name into a particular group. That's a basic list. So think of it as a manual process where you're picking and choosing who goes in there each time you want to add someone into that list. On the other hand, there's a smart list. Smart lists, I love this feature, you guys. This is more automated. So for example, when you're uploading people or when people are going into your contacts and leads section of your CRM and you're tagging them with a tag that you create, whether that's a buyer, it could be a tag for a specific zip code, like 77713. It could be someone who's looking for land and you use a land tag. It could be an investor. Whatever that looks like, anytime you add people into your CRM and you tag them as such, it's going to automatically move them into a smart list, which automatically includes them in that drip campaign. So it's not manual, it's not picking and choosing, it's automating that process for you, automating that system for you so that you don't have to stop and do it, and so that you instantly begin communicating with them in their inbox. Does that make sense? Okay, Stacy and Keisha, you guys know, just dive on in, and anytime you have a question, I'm never offended. So I'm just going to choose basic, and then once you choose which direction you want to go, you can click on the blue button again and create your recipient list. It's going to bring you to the next screen where it's going to show you exactly who makes up your list and also give you the ability here to either clear it, you can delete it, and then this is where you'll also save and exit. So when you're adding people to your lists, that can look a few different ways as well. You can do it from contacts and leads. And there used to be a little button right here that would allow you to import as a list, but that may have been a feature that they've removed. So we'll keep working toward that. I'm going to go into this again really quickly. Nope, not there. Okay, we'll look at that. Getting back into campaigns. Okay, so my advice, whether you're looking at a smart list, you know what, let's set one up. Let's do a smart list. Create the recipient list again. I'm going to do my title, so a sample smart list, choosing smart, and I'm going to create the recipient list. You'll see this again. Who should be included in the list? This is where it's basically asking you, what is the criteria that makes up this list? So is it their, oh, I really love this idea, like a birthday list. So everybody in the month of April, if you have their birthday information, which I hope and pray you do, you could send them something in that month, which would be great. So there's another one, maybe it's a home purchase anniversary date. I really like that one too. Wedding anniversary, that's so great. Anyway, you choose how you want that to look. I'm going to say has a birthday. And you can choose as many of those criteria as you would like in order to create your smart list. And then you can always include these contacts or leads in the list. You can start by entering in someone's contact, somebody specific. And then you can also exclude a certain person as well. So maybe it's somebody that, maybe it's your spouse or somebody who's immediately within your family that you don't want to send your drip to, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but you could do that anyway. Who should be excluded? So again, maybe it's somebody who has a birthday that you want to include, but maybe they have another thing where they've opted out, you know, so that way at least you're notified who makes up that list, but maybe they don't really want that email. Maybe that should kind of prompt something in you to write a handwritten note or something similar. And then anybody who fits that criteria is going to show up right down here in the results, and then you can check all of them and move them into that list, or you can do one by one and move them into that list as well. Oh, it did let me save it. I was like, it's not going to let me save it. There's no one in there. You guys will see too, as you're adding different contacts and leads, and as you're adding those tags, these recipient lists, the number is going to automatically update as well. Little thing in booj, little cool thing for those of you who are new, or maybe you just need the reminder. Anytime you know what it is that you're trying to do in booj and you just can't remember where to go, this little thing down here is your friend. It is, I don't know if you guys can see, who are in the room with me, but in the bottom right-hand corner, there's this little blue question mark that kind of moves a little bit. That is a built-in how-to guide that will walk you through screen to screen within the platform, showing you step by step what needs to be done to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Also, they've added this as well. The little question marks, you can hover over them so you don't have to click them. And it's going to just kind of remind you what these certain sections are. So the little question next to recipients, it's going to remind you for the smart list, this number is going to be approximate based on the last time that you've interacted with that list and the last time that somebody was automatically added into it. So once you've gone through and you've created all of your recipient lists, now you have people that you can send campaigns to. There are certain types of campaigns. There are single ones, there's recurring, there's drip and newsletter. So for our purposes, let's go right into drip. And you can import what's called a curated drip campaign. So these are campaigns that our headquarters, the Remax marketing team, has created that's going to help you to just get started with this process. You'll click on this import campaigns to be able to add them into your available campaigns to use. And then they are just kind of letting us know too, they've worked very hard to make these campaigns effective. You can review and modify them so that you feel like they're most relevant to your particular audience, which will help also to match those individual needs that you have whenever you are trying to decide what campaigns you want to send out to your people. So you'll click on that blue button again, blue equals new. You'll click on import campaigns and it's telling you the campaigns are being copied. It's going to take a few minutes and the page will refresh once that's been completed. So all it's doing is it's taking those templates that the Remax marketing team created and it's moving them into the template gallery, basically, that you guys can then choose from when you're going in to set up your campaigns.
That's cool.
Yeah, so here they are. You guys will see they're pretty specific. You've got existing homeowner drip, so that's everybody that you've already helped, right? Existing renter, which I think is great. That's kind of like the forgotten population, in my opinion, when it comes to real estate. So that's really nice that they've created a campaign that speaks to those folks. You have a new buyer lead drip campaign, a new seller lead drip campaign, and a new homeowner drip campaign. So I really think they've done a very nice job with kind of creating the base level of what we can expect. And again, guess what, you guys? Blue equals new. So you can click on any of these and it's going to take you into more information on this campaign. So what you're going to see, go ahead.
Why do they use the word drip?
So a drip campaign is just like it's a recurring campaign that goes out at a scheduled frequency over and over and over again. Now, existing homeowner drip campaign template. So you guys are going to see the overview. Who are the recipients? What are the emails? You'll see the schedule and you'll also see the email subject line. So this is what's telling you is going to be going out on that consistent basis. Okay. So this one is going out once a month. So you guys will see that sends 30 days after the previous email at 7 o'clock. So again, they know when to expect it. You know when it's going to be hitting their inboxes, which should allow you to also say, hey, did you see that email I sent you about your yard maintenance tips? There you go. You know what the subject is. And if you wanted to peek at it, these little eyeballs over here under preview will allow you to do so. So the email subject is yard maintenance tips. It's going to personalize it and say Stacy, comma, or Keisha, comma, and then here's the text, how they need to be maintaining their yard, which I think is great. And then instead of seeing Charlie's sweet face, y'all are going to see your contact information instead. So calls to action, any of your social media networks that you have linked to your Max Center account will also show up here. Your license number, your title. Also, all of our information here at the bottom. So not too bad, right? I think that that's very attractive. And here's the other part that I want to make sure I'm sharing with y'all. Don't be afraid to recycle this same content and repurpose it somewhere else in your marketing. Drip campaigns are often used as the single marketing communication that's going out to your entire database. It is not enough. It's not
You
enough.
said use it somewhere else in your what, Kristen? I missed that word when you turn around.
In your,
Oh, in your marketing.
overall
Sorry.
marketing.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to repurpose it somewhere else. I was saying that a lot of times with drip campaigns, people in all these different industries let that be the only communication or the only marketing source that they're relying on. And they're also saying, you know, why am I not getting a higher conversion rate? Well, it's because you're not doing anything else, right? So let this be one source, one layer of your overall marketing activities that you are implementing. So what I mean when I say recycle and repurpose, you'll take this same information, yard maintenance tips, and then either copy and paste it or take little tidbits out of the text and then spit that out on your social media. Okay? So there's another layer. You could also do a video around this that you're sending out in a text message to your advocates. Okay, you see where I'm going with it? Lots of different ways to utilize this same content in a lot of different ways. So you're not having to source new content all the time. You can use what you've already had access to and just put it in multiple places so that it's a very cohesive message as well. So the little tidbits, like, okay, in a video format, or you could even do like a video series, by the way. So whether, like, if you have a list of advocates and you have 20 of them and you're going to text them a quick little video, the first week could be mow and water your yard frequently. The next week could be fertilize and aerate your lawn seasonally. The next week, remove debris. You guys understand where I'm going with this. Or for social media, do a bullet point list with these top bolded items: mow and water your yard, fertilize and aerate your lawn, remove debris, blah, blah, blah. So it's just little bite-sized pieces of the main information that comes from this email. It also serves as reinforcement if they're getting your emails and they're opening your emails, that it's just a continuation of the same message, which is good. Do you have any questions on that? Also, make that a postcard. For those of you who just went into our referral marketing class that we taught earlier in the week, that is what that class is built upon. It's the idea of mailing to your network. So not like a mass mailer, but only mailing to your database, your network, once a month. Here's your content right here. There's your content. Again, you don't have to always try to figure out what's new, what can my content be. Remax has done that for you. Be smart about how you're going to create your marketing. And then the best part, the beauty of it, is that you can input some other things on the fly as they're happening. So when you go to a luncheon or you're out in the community, that's just icing on the cake. And you don't have to just rely on, hey, look, I just had a closing. Hey, look, under contract, that everybody else is doing. Don't be afraid to do something a little bit differently. Okay, so that's the overview page. You guys can see frequency every 30 days, what time, what the content's going to be, and you can also see what that email is going to look like.
Can you change the 30 days to 45 or 60 or 15?
We're going to look at that. Good question, though. And I will say this, Charlie touched on this in his mojo. A lot of times people, I think, diminish or discount how effective email communications are, because you guys know you get bombarded with emails all the time from retailers, all of it, all these big brands. And sometimes you read them, sometimes you don't. But guess what happens even if you don't read it? You're still aware because you're being communicated with. So even if they're not opening it, they're still being touched by that in their inbox because they're seeing your name and your association with real estate. I will tell you this personal story. I send a weekly email to my database of people that I hope to be in relationships with who will join the company. You can call it recruiting. I don't really like to call it recruiting, but that's what it is, right? I have been communicating with the same person in another company for well over a year, have never once gotten any type of response back, good, bad, or otherwise, until randomly I get an email from this person and she says, "Thank you so much for sending these every single week. I read all of them. I appreciate all of them. And please also tell Charlie that I think he's great." This person has never, ever given me an indication that they're even paying attention. Never mind the fact of reading them, but also saying kind things about Charlie. It was such a good reminder for me. Always be consistent and always send the email. Even if you think, why am I doing this? What is the point? They're still watching, even though they may not be engaging with you. Okay.
Kristen, did I miss? I saw on the campaign that you had, it had first name in parentheses. Is booj going to do that where it fills in the name of them automatically for us?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, it will. And that's a great question too. It's not a bad idea to go into your contacts and leads right here, this menu right there, and just clean up the way that those visually look. Me personally, I like to make sure that everybody, like it's their first initial that's capitalized and then everything else is lowercase, not all caps. Think about that when you're importing your contacts in here too. You can throw them into Excel or Google Sheets and it will format them well for you so that you don't have all of these different names that are all formatted in a different way. Clean it up. You know, another dead ringer to let them know that it's not personalized. Like randomly, this happened to me this week with Brittany. Poor Brittany here. She got an email from me that it was pre-scheduled and it was her full name. It was like, "Hi, Brittany N. McDaniel." Like, that was terrible. And I'm like, why did it do that? And so I went into her contact record and I was like, oh, well, because that's what's in her first name category. How dumb, because I didn't break it out whenever I added her into my email list. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Sorry, Brittany.
Ones that had my husband's name on it
Oh, that's great.
from somebody else here.
Oh, even better.
Even my name.
Even
What'd
better.
you say? It had her husband's name
had her-
on it too?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I would be worried because some of them you contact both of them with one email, you know, and I would hate to send it to one and say the husband's name, or, you know, because that seems so spammy.
And what you can do too is like when you know that it's a husband and wife that share an email, in the first name, it could be Mr. and Mrs., you know, and that like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then the last name could be like an exclamation mark, right?
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
So that it knows that when that email gets sent to that address, it's going to both of them. And also so that you can avoid these types of situations. So I wasn't paying attention when I added Brittany into my list to make sure that she got my email communications. I just put her entire name that I got from her personal information form that she sends in as part of onboarding into that one blank. And I was like, duh, you know, but it bit me in the butt because I was going too fast and I wasn't paying attention. So don't let that be you, is the moral of the story. All right, now recipients, you guys can load a recipient list, which again, this is why it's important to do those lists first, so you don't have to go backwards. And you can also add one by one right in here how you would want those campaigns to go to those certain people. Yes, sir.
My wife and I use different email addresses.
Uh-huh.
So would it be appropriate to use, you know, a C over here and a J over here?
What do you mean?
Well, like her name to her account, my name.
Mm-hmm.
So that's.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You guys can also edit the email. So again, this is what I meant a second ago when we talk about being able to kind of modify the content to speak more toward your audience. If you felt like it needed to be more casual or more formal, you could go right in here and play around with that text. If you wanted to add more enthusiasm, for example, or an emoji into the subject line, you could do that too for each of the campaigns. And it's showing you all of those subject lines and preview text. Preview text, in case you're curious. You guys know, like when you get an email and it just kind of shows you a little blip of it, not the full text of the email in your inbox before you click on it. That's what preview text is. So it'll say things like yard maintenance tips, and then on your phone, which most of us are checking email on these guys anyway, it'll show you like the subject line in bold, and then right underneath that, it's going to show that preview text. Okay. to answer your earlier question, Jim, you can edit the send schedule. So for this one, when should this email be sent out to contacts after they become a recipient? You can say immediately. So after you activate the campaign, and then you can say, okay, as soon as I activate this campaign, release it, let it go. Or you can say after a delay of 1 day. So I'm activating the campaign. I want to make sure that if I forget someone, I can add them in. That would be a reason to do a delay of 1 day to make sure, okay, I've activated it. Oh crap, I forgot to add so-and-so. Let me do that before it starts sending. Okay, so that's an instance. Or if you wanted to change the time, like I do not want a 7 a.m. email, I'm going to do 10 a.m. You can choose from all of these times as well.
So what happens is you're adding new recipients to each campaign. Does it start with the very first email with that
Yes.
new recipient?
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't just pick up where the
It
campaign is.
shouldn't.
Okay.
It shouldn't. It should let them be a part of the entire rotation from the time in which they're adding into that list.
Gotcha.
So same thing here, sends 30 days after the previous email. You can change that here if you wanted to do it every 2 weeks. If you wanted to do it every 7 days, just keep in mind that means your campaign is significantly shorter and you're gonna have to come up with new content, okay? Most of the time, if you're doing a drip, it's expected once a month. It kind of serves as almost like a newsletter, but I think better because then you have the ability to kind of give them more valuable information that speaks to them, like, you know, how to water your lawn or what's the most important way to winterize your property or so on and so forth. That's not to say, though, that a newsletter doesn't have its place, but I think a newsletter could also be something you incorporate quarterly. It could be something that you do monthly in addition to sending this out. Totally up to you, and that's the beauty of it. You can kind of experiment with that and see what kind of rate or return that you get and then modify accordingly.
That you could categorize it, you wouldn't be sending lawn maintenance tips to renters.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You can also move these up or down. So if you felt like, oh, you know, the first thing that I want them to see is how to keep their home in top shape, I want to move that up. You can do that. You can just click on these little up or down arrows and then there it goes. So you can move them around. You've got full control over that. Ways to conserve energy. That might be good in colder months or later on, or even in the summer, like when no bills tend to go through the roof. Okay. And then settings. When a campaign fails to send, this is really cool. I like that they thought about this. You can tell it, you can stop the campaign for that recipient where you can go in and see why it skipped. Maybe they emailed you separately and said, hey, I don't want any more email communications. So you can stop it for them. Or they're saying, hey, something's weird. You can skip it to where it allows you time to go in and see what happened. Or maybe they have a new email address. Okay. So lots of ways to customize and control how these drip campaigns tend to work and go out.
I may be jumping ahead here, but when you send the email out to somebody, does it have an unsubscribe button attached to it?
Most of them do. Most of them are supposed to. I have not received one yet to be able to tell you with certainty if it does. But most of the time, any kind of recurring email has to have that ability for them to stop, or it'll say this came as part of a campaign, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that was where the drip campaigns were right here on this main menu. Recurring, let's take a look at that one. You can add a campaign, same thing, blue button. Name it whatever you like. This is an ongoing email to a group of contacts or leads. Maybe this is specific to holidays or another custom interval at the frequency that you designate. Okay, so this is a little bit different from a drip. A drip is more informational and it goes out on a regular rotation, so to speak. Recurring is similar, that it goes out regularly, but it's not something like what a drip would have with the tips and the articles and so on and so forth. Okay. It's saying here, just for FYI, in the future, it's also going to include important dates like birthdays, property anniversaries, to where when it detects those details for a contact, it's going to trigger that email to go out to them so that you guys don't have to think about that either, which is really nice. So it'll say, hey, congratulations, we're celebrating your 2nd property anniversary. Yay. Another reason for you to stay in touch with them, to make sure that you update those records and those anniversary dates when they move. And then things like birthdays, thankfully, we don't really have to pay too much attention to that category. We get it once, we set it up, we're done. Okay. Same process, it looks very similar. So this will be, I'm just gonna say this is a sample recurring campaign. And then click the blue button again. And the menu is gonna look very similar. So you can select your template here, or you can build your own. So maybe you have custom graphics that you want to include that you create in Canva or somebody creates for you. That is where you would go. And if you've done any work in the website menu of booj, it is going to look identical. It's drag and drop with content blocks. Okay. For simplicity and for time purposes, let's just look at the templates that are available to us that Remax has prepared. Over 164. Here you're going to see newsletters. You're going to see the drip templates as well that we copied into our library. And you can just navigate all the way through the different templates. If you're looking for one that's specific, you can search. I like to look at all of them personally, just to think or look at things that I may not have considered myself.
Is this capable of picking up some of the things at the bottom of Charlie's Mojo? He has some pretty interesting websites that you can click on. Can you move some of those into here?
When you say move some of those, what are you meaning?
Copy. Maybe if something hits on his little Monday send out, he's, oh, this is good for everybody to know.
You would need to manually add that into your email.
Okay, but it can be done.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Just like when we went through a second ago when we were able to edit the subject and edit the content, you can edit and add to it if you wanted to. Here's some good examples, you guys. So if you wanted to set up a little campaign where you wanted to kind of just send out generic information, you could see some of these, like here's how to support local and why that's so important during COVID, or virtual at-home date ideas. I think that one's really cute. Entertaining kids at home, not a bad idea. Let me go back into page 8. I think there was a few in there that I really liked. There was one that showed like a birthday and maybe page 9. Let me see. I skipped over it and I shouldn't have.
And those should automatically come up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I do too. I think it's just like I really think they did a nice job in terms of how thoughtful they were with the types of communication and the content that's going out.
I agree.
This one's funny. Social distancing to-do list. Oh, geez. Like we need any reminders on that, right? You guys will see some of the newsletters that were prepared for 2020 as well as those that are prepared for 2021. So the point is you would just choose whichever template that you wanted to proceed with. Let me try something. I'm going to search. Oh, there was one that said happy holidays. So that would be a good example. Like if a specific holiday falls on the same day of every year, for example, Valentine's Day, for example, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, where it's always like the 25th, the 31st, that kind of thing. That would be a really, really good recurring campaign to send, in addition to the drip campaigns that are more informational, so that you're kind of making sure that you're firing on all cylinders and that you're present in those major events, those major holidays in their inbox as well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Let me do holidays. There it is. Happy holidays. Ooh, that's a good one. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Again, one of those that falls on the same day every year. I'm going to choose that one if it'll let me. There's one for Thanksgiving. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to use this template. Click on that blue button that said use this template. And then here you go. Like for the subject, it could be Happy St. Patrick's Day from Stacy, from Brittany, from Jim. So that's a way to customize it. Preview text. I hope this holiday brings you a bit of Irish luck and a bit of Irish cheer. Really cute. And then you're going to tell it on that specific day of the year. I want it to go out once a year on that specific day of the year. It's not going to end. Save as a draft. Tell it who you want it to go to, AKA everyone. And then there you go. Save as a draft and exit. There you go. Okay. Do you guys feel that it's pretty simple? Yeah.
Self-explanatory.
Okay. Newsletter,
Yes.
self-explanatory yet again. You guys are going to see all of the different templates starting with April. Somebody had asked me, can I send March, February? I don't know why you would. It's outdated and it looks like something's wrong. Whenever you want to start, you can start with the current month, or you could say, I'm going to start clean and begin in May. For our purposes, let's do April 2021. You can do a sample or call it whatever you like. Charlie's going to get in here and say, what on earth? Who did all of this? And again, this should look familiar. It just allows you to see what the options are. You can preview what that April newsletter is going to be. Again, edit the subject line if you like. April 2021 newsletter from Stacy Harley, Remax 1. That way they know that it's not just another email. It's a little bit different in the subject line. You're going to tell it, when do you want to send this? You can send it right now, or you can schedule it out to go on a certain date to a certain group or a certain list of recipients. Here's what I was looking for a second ago. So you guys are kind of blocked by this big old table here, but you can load a recipient list from here, but you can also add them by clicking on this button right there. Do you want a basic list? Do you have a saved list already? Again, that's why I always think it's better to start by adding your people first. That way you just point and click. You don't have to go backwards. And there's our lists that we created earlier. Or you can send it to everyone, every single contact or lead in your database for things like happy holidays, happy St. Patrick's Day, something that is universal for everyone. That would be a good way to do that. Do y'all have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Yay. Okay. Well, good luck. If you get stuck, if you're working on this and you have questions, please let us know. Thank you for being here today. And then I hope y'all have such a great day. Let me know how it goes. I'm excited about the drip campaigns. I think they are a wonderful addition to booj. And again, however we can help, don't hesitate to ask, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.